Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. Today, I'm joined by Peter Gille, CEO of TurbineAero, whose career spans aerospace engineering, operations, and executive leadership in the turbine engine space. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Very welcome. Thank you very much, Tim, for inviting me. It's much appreciated and happy to be here.
All right. So we're filming this and recording this in December. This will probably come out in January. But this is a Monday night appointment, but it's nice and sunny morning there. Where are you right now, Peter?
Thanks for asking. Tuesday morning in sunny Thailand. We have one of the production facilities just 50 miles south of the capital of Bangkok in a beautiful place called Chonburi. So that's where I am today, and indeed it's my Tuesday morning, and your Monday evening. Yes, 14 hours time difference with Phoenix Valley.
Well, I'm glad this worked out. Thank you for making time for it.
No.
Where in the valley, when you're here in Phoenix, where in the valley are you, and where's TurbineAero based?
Yes, we have three facilities. Two of them are in Chandler. So one is on Chandler Boulevard and 56th Priest Drive, and the other one is a little bit further south in the Gille River Indian Reserve. And then the third one is in Tempe. Next to the Tempe Diablo Stadium. So three facilities in the valley. When I'm over there, I usually stay in Ahwatukee, which is strategically near the three facilities.
Right. Okay. Excellent. So, how long have you been CEO? I think you've moved up through the ranks over the years. Is that right?
That's correct, sir. Yes. So I did join at the time in 2006 a large aerospace international group called the Triumph Group. They still exist, of course, by the way. And that was in 2006. And I started at that time as director of engineering in the plant here in Thailand. So my first position with the Triumph Group was immediately an engineering director's position here in Thailand. At that time, the Triumph company didn't exist yet. So I was one of three that was asked to build it out and to fit it out with, of course, technology and machines.
You weren't there at the time, though, right? They recruited you from elsewhere to go to Thailand at that point?
That's right, yeah. So when I arrived here, the building was there, but it was empty. And like no people, no machines, no customers. I got recruited from a company in my motherland in Belgium. I was working for the technical department of the national airline called Sabena at the time. So I was working for Sabena Technics until when basically I applied for a job at the Triumph Group.
Okay.
And they immediately sent me here to Thailand. And at that time I had never been in Thailand, so really? That was a very nice experience.
Were you excited about that? That sounds like a big challenge to go into a new country and set up a whole facility in a big empty building.
Right. I did have experience in building and fitting out aerospace companies. I had done that already twice at that time in Europe. So I was very confident that I was going to be able to do that. But of course, when at that time the person that sat in this seat at the time, the group president of the Triumph Aftermarket Group at the time, when he said, I'm going to send you to Thailand, I was a bit surprised. I said, Thailand? I didn't know anything of Thailand. I had primarily visited Asia in Nepal and India. I thought Thailand, that's that country where they have these pristine beaches and like where everybody likes to go for holidays. So I was surprised that like what are you going to do in Thailand? That to me didn't make any sense. And he had heard a little bit of hesitation in my voice. So when I said that, I knew that he had heard me, and he said, "Hey, listen," he said, "Peter, don't laugh, and don't have an immediate first thought here. I'm going to give you 2 tickets, and you go there for a few days, and you find out yourself, like what it is like." So then, like I came here, and of course the building was already there, and it's in an industrial estate. And I thought, well, yeah, this may work. I mean, I saw people very enthusiastic to work in an aerospace environment, which was at that time very new for Thailand, because they gradually were transferring the economy from appliances manufacturing into a service-based economy. That transition is still going on, and I'm personally helping the government doing that.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I did see a lot of potential in the country of Thailand, so that's why I accepted the job. Started here as director of engineering. Later on, I transitioned into director of engineering and quality assurance, and then I grew into my role, ultimately becoming COO. That was at the time when the Triumph Group started to divest what they considered companies that were not their core business. The core business at the time of the Triumph Group was building aerostructures and complex mechanical components. What we were doing was aero engines, ground power engines, space applications for SpaceX and for CASB. And the Triumph Group did not consider that their core business anymore. So we became those 4 companies, the 3 in the Valley that we discussed, and the company here in Thailand became TurbineAero. So at that time, I was COO, and that's when I moved to the United States, to run the companies from an operations standpoint, based in Awatuki in Chandler. And then in November 2021, it was the midst of COVID, I was asked to assume the CEO position. So it's going to be 4 years very soon.
Was that a particularly challenging time to take the reins?
Yes, it was. In Asia and certain parts of Europe, the COVID era was not yet over. So there were still a lot of constraints, particularly here in Thailand. The whole fleet of the flag carrier Thai Airways and all its subsidiaries was completely grounded. Because at that time the country was fenced off, was closed for tourism. So only people that were Thai nationals or people with a permanent work permit like myself were allowed to travel. So aerospace in Southeast Asia was at that time still not good. And the same could be said for Europe to a certain extent. So I knew that we still were not out of the woods at that time.
Right.
And then only a few months into my tenure as a COO, we had that war in the Ukraine that started. So immediately we had to abandon all the business we had with the Russian Federation, and for the facility here in Thailand, that was quite a lot. So from a business growth perspective at the time, we had to weather a lot of storms from one side, like post-COVID.
Sure.
On the other side, like the political or geopolitical problems that started at that time in February 2022.
Was there a particularly useful lesson learned through that whole process?
Yes, it was. And that is that, first of all, always expect the unexpected. That's one thing. And secondly, whatever problem and whatever roadblock you have, look at that with a positive mindset in order to be able to overcome. Luckily, I have a very, very, very good team of people that are working with me in the Phoenix Valley, as well as here in Asia and also in Europe, because we have some salespeople working out of Brussels. That of course embarked with me on that journey. Yeah, professionalism, dedication, and of course optimism is very important, of course, to weather all these roadblocks or the storms that you may encounter. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So turbine is doing mostly ground power, then you said engines or you said some space stuff.
Yes,
aerospace power.
The I would say ground power would be about 10% of our global revenue.
Okay.
And that's then primarily manufacturing and repair of the core engine components, like the blades and the vanes in the turbine section and in the compressor section of these ground power turbines. That would be about 10%. A smaller percentage is, like, I would say less than 2%, is basically manufacturing or partial manufacturing of parts for space engines, so rocket engines, basically. We are right now participating in the development and the manufacturing of the BM7 engine, which will be the engine that the moon lander in the Artemis project will use to travel.
Very cool.
To the moon. So that's indeed a very interesting business. The majority is manufacturing of large aerospace engines. Our biggest customer is GE. Honeywell is a big customer, and that's on the manufacturing side. Apart from that, we also have a large activity in the maintenance, repair, and overall of aero engines, and then primarily APUs, or what they call auxiliary power units, where we are probably worldwide the biggest provider next to the OEM, the original equipment manufacturers.
Huh. Okay. Okay. What does the Thai location have a particular focus?
Right. Yes. So the Thai location, they are for I would say 80% focused on maintenance, repair, and overall of APUs.
Okay.
20% they repair and manufacture core components of APUs as well. So
okay, that's
an APU is a smaller turbine engine.
It's a accessory power unit or something auxiliary for.
Unit.
Okay, can you maybe explain what that is for? It's a smaller engine that powers the systems, right? When it's not in flight, or even when it's in flight.
Yeah, that's correct. You can also use it in flight, and for certain flights that go over water, you're basically even supposed to have it ready or even running for few reasons. If you have 4 engines, then you don't have to run it while it's flying the aircraft. But an APU is most of the time used when the aircraft is pre-flight or post-flight, while it's taxiing, and certainly while it's at the gate. It essentially provides pneumatic power, so air conditioning, heating, cooling to the cabin and the cockpit, and it provides the whole aircraft with electricity, so that you don't have to use the batteries of the aircraft, or sometimes you see that they bring a ground car to the aircraft to start up the engines and things. So the APU provides pneumatic power and electrical power, the pneumatic power, air conditioning, and starting the main engines primarily.
Okay. On that note, so I mean, pretty much everybody nowadays flies, and they would appreciate how there's rules, right, at certain airports and certain places of what you can and can't, when you can run those engines and not. Most of the time, most places in the world you can, but there's a few. Can you explain that to people real quick?
Yeah. The thing is, of course, that from what I know out of the top of my head, the majority of main airports, doesn't even have to be the biggest airports, but like the main airports in the world, running an APU is permitted at all time, right? I do not know if, and that's then primarily for noise regulations, that you would be prohibited to run it. So I think that you can run an APU at all times.
Okay.
Of the world, yes.
I thought there was a couple of airports where they were like wanting you to be only on ground power and didn't want them running for noise purposes, as you said.
Could be, yes. I can't come up with an example though.
Yeah, me either.
Right, yes.
Okay. Okay, so and the different locations that in like here in the valley, do they focus on their own specialties?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a good question because sometimes employees come and ask me and ask me, hey Peter, like, can you tell us a little bit more how you see like a group strategy? And for me, that's always a very difficult question to answer, because the particulars of like, for instance, manufacturing turbine components of an aero engine or a ground engine, that technology and that business and the economies in that particular field are completely different than basically overhauling or repairing a complete engine, because that's like an integrated system that like has its own particulars and characteristics. So the technology is, although that you could say, hey, that this is aerospace, the technology and the business and the economy is completely different. So it's a bit difficult to say, hey, like, this is the global strategy for the four companies, because they indeed have each individually their own particular character.
So is that a particular challenge being CEO of almost like four different companies?
I must say, personally, for me, it's not, because that would be the things that I like. I like that variation and like differences in companies, and trying to merge them together in under one group. I do like these differences between the companies. So we are actively growing as a company, not only organically, but we're trying to do some acquisitions as well in the near future.
Oh, really?
Well, my board is then asking, hey Peter, like, would it be a strategic fit to the company? Mm-hmm. And usually I would then say, to me, it doesn't really matter. Let's just look at like the performance of that company that we are interested in acquiring, and let's just like use it as, or treat it as as its own individual business, and help them financially, and help.
If it pencils on its own, then great. And if there's synergies, that's just a bonus.
That's bonus, yes, true.
Okay. That sounds like a good, safe, conservative philosophy. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about how you got sort of the Artemis project pieces? You're doing a little bit of the lander, you said, on that. Is that I heard that those projects are big and vast, and they use all sorts of different contractors to build different parts of things.
That's true. Yes. So primarily the end user, of course, would be SpaceX or NASA, or however they will organize that. We do serve, or we help primarily SpaceX on itself, and a company called Casby, and Casby is one of those subcontractors. Indeed, we used to work for a Virgin, but they are no longer there. Virgin Galactic, I think they were called, and Blue Origin. But for the time being, I think in 2025 we didn't see any business there. It's primarily SpaceX and Casby, and what we do is part of the manufacturing process of the core components of the rocket engine, which is called the turbo pump. That's a very critical component that requires a very specific cleaning before integrating it into the engine system. That cleaning has to be done with a machine that's called fluoroionide cleaning, FIC. And we are one of the only companies in the valley that have that capability, FIC cleaning. So that's why we perform that service for these customers.
Okay.
It's not only on that one component. There's different components that we treat.
Okay. It seems to be the trend. As I'm meeting more people in the industry, there's so much to know and do that, and the technological constraints, you can't do it all yourself. You have to sort of collaborate and farm stuff out.
Yes, because the technology is so complex that it would be indeed very costly. Not only first to invest in all these different machines that you do need to come with a qualitative product, but also it became obvious to me over the years that you really need to focus on a certain area or a few areas to become really good at it from a technical standpoint, but also to become good at it from a competitive standpoint. If you're not really focused on a certain area, you will probably not make it. You will not be competitive in this world. Aerospace, of course, a little bit more even than space. Aerospace is a very competitive business, and you know that most of the airlines have to compete to win over customers. The ticket pricing are constantly under a very high pressure, while the fuel prices and prices of materials, engines, aircraft, labor, pilots are constantly rising, and the price of the tickets basically have to stay the same or become cheaper. So that is something that's paradoxal, and that's very difficult to be competitive in that market.
Sure. Okay.
I remember, for instance, that's I think a pretty good example. My first, I would say, intercontinental flight when I was in my early 20s was from Brussels over Copenhagen in Denmark to New Delhi in India.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, an economy seat for the round trip ride was exactly 1,000 USD. That was in 1995. If now we look at 2025, so 30 years later, on that same flight, the price for that round trip ticket is exactly 1,000 USD.
Wow.
So in the meantime, of course, life, I would say, at least became twice or 2.5 times more expensive, but the price of that ticket stayed the same. So that, shows you how hard it is to be profitable in the commercial aerospace world.
Right. Yeah, that's a great example.
You have to focus to be very good at certain things. You can't do everything yourself, as you say. That's true.
Right. Yeah, that's a free market, right? Trying to dictate the value of things.
Yes.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge for you since COVID, since taking the CEO role?
Oh, by all means, the biggest challenge was to make sure that we, as a group, stayed profitable, primarily in 2022. Because of course at that time, and even right now, though a different group, the company was already owned by a private equity group. So the private equity group had, like the yearly budgets. They were known because we had made them ourselves, and that was then, like, we knew that we were going to one day, sooner or later, that the COVID era would be behind us. But again,
you had to survive it.
We had to survive it. For the United States, it was there was good progress to be seen. That people started flying again, and things were getting back to, I would say, business as usual. Primarily in Phoenix, because we had a big component of our revenue streams. There was cargo airlines and military applications. So they were like, I would say, a little bit protected from COVID.
Right.
But of course, in Asia and Europe, which were at that time our biggest growth engines, COVID was a very big factor still then. And then, of course, February of 2022, when that conflict in the Ukraine started, that was, of course, something that we had not, and I had not accounted for. Sure. And losing all the business from that part of the world in a blink of an eye was, of course, very, very difficult for me. In the way that, of course, we didn't make our numbers in terms of revenue as well as EBITDA, and EBITDA is very important when you're owned by private equity companies, obviously.
Right.
So the numbers weren't where they needed to be, and I had, as you can imagine, I had a lot of explanation to do, and I had to answer a lot of questions what I was going to do about it, of course.
Right.
That's part of the job and part of my role, of course, as a CEO, to find solutions and to like when you're in a different position, you can report the weather, but at that time I had to make it rain.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, okay. So
went through it, and starting 2023, things started to pick up, and the companies in Asia as well as in the United States all of a sudden started growing with new customers, with existing customers that wanted to increase their portfolio of business they had with us. So we did pretty well, and
you came out pretty quickly in the following year.
We came out of COVID very, very strong. Good. And that tendency kept on and keeps on repeating itself. We see about almost 20% growth year over year across the four companies. So performance is thanks to my people and thanks to my employees. I practically don't do anything anymore. You know how that goes. They did a phenomenal job.
Excellent. Are you growing your footprint in Asia?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah. The last big markets that we have embarked on was South Korea. So we have won a few very large contracts with Korean Air and Asiana in South Korea. We have expanded our footprint in China. With China Southern and China Eastern Airlines, and then also in the Middle East, Kuwait Airways, Egypt Air, Air Algérie were already existing customers, but they have increased their portfolio with us here, and that's going very, very well indeed.
Excellent, that's awesome. Yep. All right, so. As we wrap things up here, a reflection question for you. What do you wish you would have known sooner, right, about building wealth or success earlier in your career?
I would have liked to know the development of cryptocurrency earlier than now. It's still a little bit how should I say, a little bit vague on what's happening and what's going on, of course, and like the fluctuation of
Sure.
of the value is very volatile.
Right.
But I would have liked to know more about Bitcoin a few years ago, and that's typical.
Right. Right. Okay. Do you see a lot of it over in Asia?
Not so much. Not so much.
No.
It's
Okay.
primarily big
The
in
Western stuff.
the USA.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the main cities of the United States and Europe. There's people that are very well versed and like following up on
Right.
that technology. In Asia, you have primarily Hong Kong, Singapore, Bangkok. There's of course whiz kids and very smart people that have the guts as well. And don't forget, you have to have the guts to invest, of course. So
Sure.
that exists in Asia as well,
Okay. Okay.
and China
Excellent.
as well.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. So if people would like to connect with you and learn more about Turbine, where can they go? What should they do?
Absolutely. I would say just shout out to my LinkedIn profile. Just type my name, you will see my profile on LinkedIn, and I'm open to any questions, any conversation about whatever topic.
Okay.
So yes, absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Peter Gille, for joining me today.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, sir.
Appreciate you sharing.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.